important about doing this film? Because this is a great film. I saw it 3 weeks ago and I haven't been able to stop. But the first thing I talked to everybody about was the score and Scarlett.
Wow.
Because that's interesting. How did that come about?
Well, I very much, was taken by the images of the film, and I felt that they really spoke to me, and I wanted to create a song at the end of the film, after working on it for so long with Jeff, and something that would allow the audience to really absorb everything that they've seen and meditate to what they just watched, and really think about what it meant to them. So that's how that came about.
I think back to The Cove when I first saw it at Santa Barbara Film Festival and Roger Darling picked it there. It's interesting how he picks movies, because he picks them in October. Oscars weren't until that year, mid-February, and all of a sudden it wins. What was your reaction when you found out that movie won?
Well, I really love that movie. It's a real adventure heist movie, and the thing that I always feel that those trilogies that I had been fortunate to work on, Men on Wire, and The Cove, and then Hell and Back Again, they're helping change the form of documentaries. So you have Men on Wire that comes along, and it's this movie where it's this adventure movie and a heist movie, and the recreations and the talking heads and the archival, it's almost all blended together, and you can't really tell which one is which, and it just feels like you're there. Then The Cove comes along, and it actually takes you there. So there is no recreations, and it physically takes you there. So that added another construct to the form of this making it feel like an espionage thriller, heist. And then Hell and Back comes along, and the presence of the filmmaker is gone completely, and he's using the vernacular of Hollywood war cinema, since its inception, with these grand movies like Saving Private Ryan or The Hurt Locker, and it's just fascinating to see what can be achieved in this genre. And then at the end of the day, it's still true. You're still watching absolute truth. So when you finally get to Chasing Ice, it's almost as if James has created the ultimate security camera for planet Earth. And so the whole film is about, trying to solve this robbery of the Earth's natural resources, and the evidence is on the tape,
When you think of your musical background, you really can't be pegged, can you?
Well, because I don't read or write music, and it's just about intuiting visual, pictures and stories into a musical narrative. All I can rely on is, intuition and my ears. So I just keep playing something and finessing instruments until I hear something that I feel looks like the pictures and looks like the story. So I can only react to what I'm seeing, and the colors in the pictures, and the people's emotions and what's behind what they're saying, and that informs a sequence of events that results in music on the other side. But I can't say that I have any sort of process to dictate that.
How inspiring can and should that be for students? Because one of my pet peeves is lost musical instruments, lost music programs out of schools.
Yeah.
If it weren't for drum and bugle corps or even a marching band when I was in high school, I would have been lost, deeply lost. And it's what kept me going, drum and bugle corps music, and listening to great scores.
Yeah, I think it's very evocative, and rhythm is the source of everything. Your life starts with a heartbeat. So rhythm is at the core of all music, in a way. Even the way you measure pitch is by how frequently something vibrates, how many times a second it's vibrating, and pulsing. So that's what actually creates, you know, pitch is rhythm in a way. And you know, this in terms of instruments and scores, there's no wrong way to play anything. And when you, I find that a lot of my friends that are very learned and super talented musicians, in a way, regret the education because they say it informs constructs of playing that only tell them what they're not supposed to do. So it's any time that they go outside of the paradigm, it's always like, I'm not supposed to be doing this. Whereas I have no concept of what's right or wrong, just only sonically what sounds good. You know, and so it's really just, it has to be fun, and it has to be real. That's it. Make it fun, make it real.
And you get when you're talking about that, I get a sense of like Stevie Wonder, how he would see, not see, but hear and just feel the rhythms completely. And stuff like. And I can relate to that because, like I said, I started reading late. We had to pick up stuff as it was taught to us on the fly, and that's how you became good. And we had to learn it quickly. And if you couldn't pick it up quickly, you were cut.
It's not about thinking and looking. It's really about, as you said, it's about listening, and it's about what sounds right, what sounds real. And so when you have stuff that's, I'm not begrudging anyone that makes music with math, it's a great shortcut to understand, you know, this is not going to sound good if you play this, and to know that, but also be able to ignore that and be, I just want to be unbridled, you know, out on a branch and, you know, completely lost in the universe of infinite possibilities of all the random notes, and pulling out of that ether melodies and rhythms and phrases and getting hypnotized yourself into the performance. You know, each time you record something or play something, that's the other thing. Every performance is a performance for an audience. You know what I mean? In terms of it's always a ability to play something, you know, and have it be a performance. So, you know, I really obsessively record each musing of the, you know, as I'm going through different, you know, iterations of scores and ideas, and just keep all the tracks, because, you know, you're almost like mining, you know.
The president was just reelected. What was that like for you? Because obviously you've done stuff. Mm-hmm. What was that feeling for you?
Done stuff? How do you mean?
What did you compose for him?
Oh, well, he had a presentation that he was doing for the 50 heads of state, where he is about open government transparency, and he wants you know, all the governments to publish their a lot of the facts to keep everything competitive. For example, you find when hospitals publish their success rates of heart transplants, then they're held accountable, and you're not going to go to the hospital that's 7th on the list when you have the option to go to the one that's 1st on the list. When you do things like that, it elevates everyone's involvement, because the 7th person on the list is like, well, damn, we got to get cracking, because, you know, nobody's coming to us anymore. So it makes everybody better, makes everybody more responsible, and I thought that was really interesting. But in terms of, you know, I am happy to be involved and honored to be involved in writing music for something that he's presenting like that. But at the same time, I don't have any, you know, political opinions of who should win or why they should win or how that all works. I'm very perplexed by the whole thing, and can't say it's something that I understand how it works. And I think it's, I'm definitely interested in fairness and responsibility.
What award means the most to you that you won, and why?
Well, I like very much working on the documentaries, because when they're recognized by a variety of awards, these people are risking their real lives, and these are people's real stories that feel so big, and there's something so inspiring about a story that feels as big as Indiana Jones, yet it's real. And so it's almost, when you're a kid and you watch those big adventure movies, then you grow up and you realize that it's not real, or it doesn't have the same resonance you know, it's because you realize it's fake or you realize that it's movie magic. When you watch these documentaries and you realize that it has the same guttural feeling as when you were a kid watching that, and then you realize that these people are real and they really did do it and they really are doing it, it's so mind-blowing. It's such an honor to be involved in helping create the experience of what it's like to watch and listen to their story. So, yeah, I mean, having those films get recognized is really important.
When you work with like a Willie Nelson or a Nora Jones, where are you in that perspective? How do you go about creating something for that individual? Where do you start?
It's all being informed by the project. So if the words come to life from what, you know, if it's a song for a movie, the words come to life and they're born out of the film project and the characters and the stories in these documentaries, and it's about creating, you know, a landscape and an environment that reflects in a musical narrative the story and what it feels like to watch the story, and that's what we hope to do when we're, you know, creating those songs.
I have a section on the website called Matters That Matter, and it's basically about what is your favorite charity and why.
Well, we've been working a lot, you know, with the autism charity for Wretches and Jabberers, that film, because I feel that, you know, a lot of those guys have been so marginalized, and there's a lot of problems. You know, it's basically a civil rights issue. I mean, people don't know how to classify them, so they're cast away. And you know, I very much support that from that film, and also Charity Water, my friend Scott Harrison's charity, and he's an amazing guy. We went to college together, and woke up one morning and realized he was just living this life of debaucherous privilege, and donated his life to creating this thing called Charity Water, where he goes and brings fresh, clean water to people all around the world, and it's fantastic.